Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Enlightened Evolution with Kay and Christina. Today we are talking about a subject that we found on TikTok. It's tell me the most unhinged things a therapist has ever said to you in a session that actually helped you. I like this.
I saw some people were commenting unhelpful things. I was like, oh, that's sad. Not as many, but
They're still funny though.
yeah.
What is it like in Georgia? Because I tell you what, I was raking my leaves yesterday and I'm sunburned. I don't think you can tell very much by my face, but like, you know how after you're in the sun all day and then you take a shower and it burns?
Mm-hmm.
I felt so good yesterday to be burned.
I mean, I've already had my first sunburn of the season, but then I also went to my dermatologist and I'm kind of see that.
Oh, what did they say?
Still waiting for the biopsy to come back. Should be.
But what did they say?
Now.
What they thought? What they think?
So I will say this it was a nurse practitioner I saw, and this time I really liked her. The last one, when I would show her something, she would be like, "Oh, I don't know." I'd be like, "What is this?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'll have to biopsy it and see." And I'm like, "Certainly you have an idea of what it is."
Right.
So this lady was naming out every single thing that she saw because I'm covered in moles and freckles, like all over my body.
Oh yeah, they did a full body scan on you.
Yeah. So she did a full head to toe, like had this little microscope and light and was like looking, because I have some that like, she's like, okay, we'll keep an eye on that. We're not going to do anything with it right now, but we'll come back to it next year. Because they recommend at least yearly getting a full head to toe. And just being in Georgia and with as many, like my grandfather was covered in moles. So like, I'm just prone to them.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that she did biopsy, so she biopsied one on my eyelid, but you probably can't see it in the camera. That one's healing up pretty well. The one on the side of my face, which is the one I'm concerned about, is slower to heal. The one on my eyelid, she wasn't too concerned about. So she gave me a differential for each thing. She's like, it could be this or it could be squamous cell. The one on the side of my face, I forget the benign term she used. She's like, could be this or, and she said BCC, but I know BCC is basal cell carcinoma. So that's what they're sending it off to see. Luckily, both of those are not like the scary kinds of skin cancer. So
it's still scary though. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Scary. We'll see. I do have an oracle for us. So I used my cosmic goodness. Let me get where the camera is. Cosmic cat.
Looks like Beyonce jumping towards the moon.
Yeah, it does.
Or moon pie jumping towards the moon.
We both have black cats because we're witches. This one is Secrets, Let the Cat Out of the Bag.
Ooh.
It's a little feisty kitty on there, a little feisty tabby. So let me see if I can find it in the book and we shall see. I can't remember if this one is, it does give some kind of longer ones. RS. It's all in alphabetical order. Okay. Secrets. If you've pounced on this card, it means you're hanging on to secrets unrevealed, keeping something close to your chest and hidden away in an effort to protect yourself or others. You could be on a catwalk, precariously perched between telling the truth and upholding what you've deemed could be damaging. Some secrets are ones to keep because they contain stories or information best not shared with anyone but close friends or confidant whose trust is beyond question. Some need to be shared with anyone as only you would understand the situation or an experience you've had. If it hurts no one and nothing, why spill the beans? It may simply be no one else's business but yours. Let's see. Where secrets can be damaging to you and others is the point at which they are blocking you from alignment. with who you really want to be, with what you stand for, your integrity. If you value honesty, these kinds of secrets may be painful for you to keep, may bring up feelings of isolation, and may become too much of a burden to bear. Hiding some secrets is, I don't even know what this word is. Titanum. Every episode we come across a word that we struggle with. It's Tanta. Tantamount? I don't know. Okay. To hiding who you really are from others, making it difficult and even confusing to relate to the real you. There are some other thoughts. Get clear about a secret you are no longer willing to keep and decide how you will share it or reveal it in the most loving way possible. Work with a trained counselor to help you decide what is best kept secret and what would be valuable to share. Learn how to provide positive feedback in all of your relationships.
Interesting.
So there's that, if that resonates with you.
Well, it kind of does. Think about, yeah, it resonates with me just within the way where you said, like, some things are better kept unsaid if they're not hurting anybody. And back in past relationships, not only am I critical of people that I'm with, even though I feel kind of rightfully so about that because, well, we're not together anymore. But
Right.
however, there was a lot of issues like about my past, and like it's like I didn't feel like I had to share all these things, and it was unrightfully like stifled through and brought to light, and I like that one.
Did you catch that I'm wearing a Reading Rainbow shirt?
I did. I love that. I haven't
I love it.
Gosh, I haven't thought about reading Rainbow in years.
Sorry, it was way off topic.
He
I
was
just really love
he
this
was
shirt.
just it's just one of those sweet wholesome shows. Like,
Yeah.
what's the other guy? It's a
Mr.
beautiful day
Rogers?
in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
very soothing
Yeah, like
comfort
Bob.
show.
Yeah, Bob Ross. Yeah, all that.
Bob Ross. Speaking of Bob Ross, I just bought a 36 by 36 canvas at Hobby Lobby, and I have some great plans for it.
Mm. I'm excited to see.
I am nowhere in the line of like detailed painting like Bob Ross. Although we are having a painting party coming up at work, and I wonder what we're going to paint. But I'm going to paint more of like I don't know. It's going to be cats that are mountains.
Oh, that's gonna be cute.
Yeah. I saw
Are
it from
you?
another artist, so I guess I'm
Yeah,
like stealing their idea.
that's fine. Or
I'll
is it
share it
gonna
when I'm done
be?
with it.
Yeah, is it gonna be your cats, like inspired by your cats, the mountains?
That's actually a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, got your back
I
tear me
probably
soon.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been loving doing all the AI stuff with my pets.
Oh, me too. I just, yeah, I look at Beyonce and Rio differently now. I do. I love it. Okay.
All right. So, should we get into some of these comments?
Yes.
Some people had some really good ones. The first one I have on my list is therapy isn't a lobotomy, it's an exorcism. You will still have the memories of your trauma, you just won't be possessed. I thought that was
Mm,
amazing. Although
that
sometimes
is
I would like a lobotomy, like
cut that
shove
memory right
something
out
up
of
my
my head.
nose. But I like that you won't like be consumed by your trauma, hopefully, if therapy goes well.
Right. I have, well, this person said I was talking about somebody said I think maybe they said like, I don't know, something for attention. And she said, but you were doing it for attention. You're attention deprived. That's the only way you knew how to get it. So I guess maybe like growing up as kids, we maybe like my kids will like start acting out or act negatively if I'm like preoccupied and stuff. And the only way they know how to get attention from me is by acting a fool. So I think that we probably, if we don't ever learn, or if our safe adult doesn't ever give us, undivided, safe, calm attention, how can we know how to be in any relationship where we don't act up to get a response out of somebody?
Yeah, and I think, like, them saying, "Oh, you were just doing that for attention," and the therapist is like, "Yes, you were doing that for attention because you
Mhm.
deserve attention." And realizing that that is something you do deserve. You deserve to be doted on, especially as a child, to have attention by the people that supposedly love you.
Mhm.
This one I resonate with a lot. It's fine to see the good in people. It's not fine to think you can change them.
Oh, I had that one too.
Did you?
A
Yeah. That one
100%, yeah.
is been there, done that over and over and over for sure.
Yeah. So this one seems like a really direct, straight to the point therapist, whoever's this person's therapist was. And she said to her, I'm seeing things that you're not seeing, and that's why I'm calling you out. If I didn't care about you, I'd let you do whatever the hell you wanted. Remember that. And she said, I know an addict when I see one.
I mean, I also pulled quite a few that are very blunt. I
Hmm.
respond well to blunt
I did too. Like,
information.
yeah, don't skip and tiptoe around me. Just be direct.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times in therapy, I think a lot of therapists miss that point. And that's why, like, I've known people that have gone to therapy for years and not made any progress in their life. And I
Hmm.
think it's because they're not being challenged. I mean, they're not doing the work. You have to do the work outside of your 1 hour session with your therapist. But you also have to have a good therapist that's challenging you.
Yeah.
In light of that, I have another bold one. It's your choices that made you end up here. It might be rock bottom, but it's a rock bottom you created. I love that.
Hmm.
Sometimes we got to be honest with people about how they got to where they are. If they're listing out all these things that happen, people like to play the pity party, and they can't see how they contributed to where they are.
Yeah. We know people like that. This one it just says give yourself the chance.
Mm,
And
yeah.
that
I
could
think
that
people
could
get stuck in believing that they're not capable.
yeah. For whatever reason you were told that or you just don't believe in yourself. I like that one.
This one I can resonate with. The person said, I was sad that I was feeling like an outsider in my shitty family. And my therapist said, I don't know, Ellie. I think you'll know you're winning when you're nothing like them. And
Mhm.
I've
I
definitely
love
felt
that.
like an outsider in my family. And it was hard to come to terms with at first because, like, you want to be accepted by your family, you want to be included and all these things. And for a long time, I played that part. But when I realized that that was dysfunctional and I
Mhm.
really wanted to be someone else, it is winning.
I feel that. I grew up being told I was wrong a lot or I shouldn't do things or you can't do that. I just remember I don't know, like this one time, like my mom could always water ski really well. And I was always told that, like with one ski, and
Oh, shoot.
she always made us use two. And she's like, you're not going to be able to do one. Like me and my sister were told our whole life, like we could never do something. And I don't
Yeah.
know. It just always made me feel like we don't have to. I don't, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, why? I just don't
Hmm.
understand why I was always told, like, I
Like,
couldn't.
how is that helpful? Instead of being like, let me show you how I got good at doing one and
Yeah,
I want
right.
to help you.
Right.
That's wild.
Those same parts that hurt you once protected you. Give yourself grace for having to help them learn you're safe now.
I love that one because I love parts therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And we've discussed this before, but we develop these different parts that protect us when we need it. And sometimes they can be destructive or maybe not productive to who we want to be. But in that moment, they're protecting us. And part of integrating with those parts and getting to know those parts is thanking them for protecting us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had that one on my list too. I'm gonna take that off. Let's see. Okay, so she says, I was feeling guilty for a depression relapse. So she took out a whiteboard and wrote all the things I had gotten through on it. Seeing what I've
Aw.
overcome in writing helped. I think that's really cool. Sometimes you just got to visualize it.
Yeah.
And big part of therapy is we can't get out of our own way. And so having someone to talk to and they're able to see the bigger picture of you've actually overcome a lot and you're doing great,
Mm-hmm.
even though you feel shitty right now.
Yes. I think that helps too. I love journaling. I haven't done it in like 3 months and I just started doing it again. And it just feel like I more so journal, like look at everything I accomplished today. Like all like more so like positive things. I guess I could trauma dump in my journal, but I don't spend a lot of time doing that.
That's good.
Do you
It's
do
good
that?
that I have not journaled in a long time.
No.
But historically, yes, I trauma dumped when I journaled because I have a habit of looking back and what is it called? Where you look back and you just see things positively. And there are times that like I want to remember what like I was video journaling for a while when things would get bad so I could first like see my physical state, which that's what I like about the video journaling because you can like look at yourself, see the lifelessness in your eyes and like see how truly affected by it you were. So I do have those saved in my phone of some things, but yeah, I'm more of a trauma dumper. But day to day, I like congratulate myself for the things I get done.
Good. I haven't video journaled in a long time. I'm almost like I've done it in the past. It's really hard for me to go back and rewatch myself. Like I can't.
Yeah. It is it's definitely hard.
Mhm.
But I want to stop romanticizing things, and
Mhm.
that's why I think it's helpful to have those to be like, "No, bitch, it wasn't good."
Right. Right.
um this
Go.
this next one I have, I also very much relate to. Um she said her therapist told her because of your childhood, you'll understand more things than most people. And it was talking about in relation to a social work class she was in, and no one understood what it was like for whatever demographic they were talking about. And it was sad because it just reminded her of her own childhood. And I've absolutely been there where, like, I guess when you've had trauma at a young age, you grow up very quickly and I feel like almost you process things faster or you think about things more than maybe other people might. Like I am
Mhm.
very much actually in my meeting I was just in, we announced that a big change was coming. And one of my coworkers said, I'm so thankful that Christina is on this because I know she'll think of it from a systems approach and she'll know everything that it'll touch. And while that's great for my job, that's from trauma.
That's nice compliment though, but it's
I
almost
know.
like you're you you got to internalize it as like, okay, I know they meant that as a compliment, but actually I I wish I would have developed this skill.
Right? I wish, because and that's the thing, yes, it's great for everyone else because I'm constantly thinking of all the ways this could go bad, and I'm like preparing for that,
Mhm.
and I have an action plan in place. But I'm the only one thinking that in a lot of sections, not always, but it's very lonely because you're like, why does nobody else think this way? And it gets very frustrating, and it really feels isolating, really. But I
Yeah.
did what she said, I took as a compliment. I very much was thankful for that. And I'm really thankful she said that because that's how I feel most of the time.
Mhm. This is pretty unhinged. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Your mom was an abuser and your dad was neglectful. You had a shitty toss up for both parents and then laughed after they said it. Like
See, that's why
probably
I couldn't be a therapist, because I would laugh as well. But you know me, I laugh when I say really traumatic things.
like an inappropriate affect, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like yeah, don't because like we like our defense mechanism is like, oh, just kind of like making a joke out of it. Like
Tee.
just like at work being nurses, like that grotesque humor, like obviously the shit that we're laughing about and joking about isn't funny behind the nurses station. But it's just our way to like cope with,
Yeah, it's a
having to
coping
do like,
mechanism.
yeah, it's like I didn't want to have to give 100-year-old chest compressions and it was real fucked up and we're going to say some shit about it, like
Yeah.
so and I don't know, not laugh as in like, oh, but just it's wild what we do to like our defense mechanisms with humor.
And I think that was helpful from that therapist, because there are times that
Mhm.
we don't want to believe the people closest to us, the people that are supposed to love us, were actually bad people.
Mhm.
And I think I've mentioned this before on here. In my previous marriage, it wasn't until I sat down with my counselor at work and expressed what was going on in my marriage, and she's like, "You're being abused." And because I had previously been physically abused, I was like, "What?" And she's
Mhm.
like, "What you just expressed to me is abuse." And that thought had never been in my mind.
God bless her.
I know. She just got Employee of the Year. I was
Good
so
for
happy for
her.
her. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, this is so well deserved. She's awesome. I love
That's
her."
awesome.
Yeah. So this next one I think is really helpful, and I think a lot of people are getting into therapy for this reason. So it says, the therapist said, "You don't have to come in here and list off problems each week. It's not what's expected. Maybe we can try to figure out an overall goal to accomplish." So I feel like more and more people are going to
Mm.
therapy to achieve goals in their life, not just to like work through trauma. So like if you listen to this podcast and you're like, my life wasn't that traumatic, like people also use therapy for achieving goals and
Mhm.
things in their life.
That
And I,
makes
I
sense.
do relate to this too, as someone who typically does list off problems at therapy.
Yeah, I'll trauma
Because there
dump
are
and just
times,
bitch. Yeah.
right, but there are times where like I have an appointment and I'm like, I guess I don't have anything to say this week. Like I don't have anything bad to say, but I never even occurred to me like, oh, we could make some plans around something positive.
Right. I liked this next one, because a lot of times we'll leave relationships and then we'll start to think about that person and still like hope the best for them, wish they're okay, wonder if they've grown, could things work out. And so this patient said, I hope my ex changed, not for me, but for someone else. Maybe he got a therapist. And the therapist responded with, I highly doubt it. That boy deserves to be in prison.
I will say I have wished that same thing of like, I hope they change for whoever they deal with in the future. She's like, no, they need to be in prison.
I love it.
That's also me as a therapist.
Yeah, like direct, straight to the point. Like, no, he was an awful, volatile, diabolical human being. Like, what are you remembering? Because
Right.
I sat here with you for months. Like, could you imagine being a therapist? Like, you get a client, they've been like consistently coming to you for like a year. This is probably how my therapist felt, actually, now that I'm I met her at the end of this breakup at the beginning of like 2024. And like I was in deep with her like 7 months EMDR therapy. And then I get back with my ex that like I was just working through all this trauma with her for. And she was probably like, Kayla, what in the entire fuck? Like you just
Yes.
undid all my good work. It's like you just cleaned the house perfect and your teenagers just came in and just took a shit in the middle of the floor. Like that's probably how she felt.
Oh,
Poor
yeah.
thing. I got
That's
over it
why
again, but yeah.
yeah. That's one of the reasons that I don't think I could be a therapist is you have to really learn detachment and like I get too invested.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how can you not see what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know a lot of things like they teach us as nurses to be able to, therapeutic communication and patient education. So in a way,
Mhm.
we obviously don't have the same psychological training as a therapist, but I do think I don't want to say like I could be qualified, but in a way we're kind of qualified to give
Yeah,
people
I
like
mean, we
acute advice because they're not with us long term.
yeah.
But I've come across a lot of women that, were in the middle of abusive relationship, domestic violence, and like I feel like I've straight up said like this is not okay. What he's putting you through is not okay. Just very directly.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing because I've also done that. You have to be okay with the fact that they might stay with that person or go back to that person, but at least you planted a seed. And just for me and my previous relationships, having so many strangers plant that seed of this is not okay,
Mhm.
eventually it worked and I came to that realization. So you hope that eventually they'll get out of it.
Yeah.
This one is super simple, but also very blunt. You can think that if you want to. I think
Love
this
it.
could be used in in so many
Any
scenarios.
any scenario.
But it's important to let that person know, like, you have a choice to think something differently. You can think that if
Mhm.
you want to, but there are other realities or possibilities out there.
I loved this one. You are not an object. You are letting people use you, and all they are doing is running you into the ground. Stop acting like you don't exist. You deserve to take up some space in this world.
That's huge.
Has any of your therapists ever asked you, like, what's one of the best, simplest questions any of your therapists have ever asked you to think deeper?
Hmm. To think deeper. Do you have an example of one? I'm trying
I
to think of
do.
one.
So I remember just talking about things that I do that more like related to like cognitive dissonance. Like instead of going to work and out, work out, I lay in bed and drink coffee for 2.5 hours in the morning, which is what I did this morning. you know, and I'm like, I hate that I do that when I want to do something else. And she's like, well, then why do you do it? And so it made me really dive deep into, and that could be with anything.
Mhm.
So that was, I think, my favorite question she's asked me because it puts the responsibility back on me. Like I don't put a whole bunch of, I mean, to be a therapist, it's obviously a really like responsible job to have, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're in charge of ourselves.
Mhm. I think maybe the most shocking thing that came from my therapist, which I believe I've talked about before on here, is when I had just like trauma dumped on her and then at the end I like laughed or like smiled and
Mhm.
she stopped me and was like, "Why did you don't," or she was like, "You don't have to make this lighthearted for me. I'm okay to sit with this heaviness." She's like, "You don't have to try to make it less or seem lighter than it actually is. Like it's okay to realize that that was really fucked up."
Yeah.
And
Good for
it's still
her.
something that I like I still laugh when I say traumatic things, but now I think about it more and like I do that because I'm trying to make it lighter for the person that's hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, it's a really fucked up thing.
Yeah. And most of us can handle it.
Yeah. This one is on the recovery side. The therapist said, you have two options. You either recover or you die. And I think that is a very blunt thing that probably needs to be said to a lot of people in active addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the truth. I've lost so many people to addiction and I've never been in it myself, so I don't have insight on what that feels like. But I think a blunt truth is what's needed.
Yes. So I do think there's different levels to addiction. And I think that we all do have our vices.
Mm-hmm.
We may be able to be very functionable, and it's not something that's going to, I think there's different levels to it. I'm not going to cut out caffeine. It would benefit me if I did.
Certainly. I mean, this is talking about
Heroin,
using
crack cocaine.
substances that are that could kill you.
Yeah.
Caffeine's not gonna kill you. Might not be the healthiest thing, but
I know some
not gonna
cardiac
kill ya.
patients it might.
Well, that's true. Salt could kill some cardiac patients.
Yeah. Give me my Lay's, baby. Yeah. That's all I got, girl.
Okay, I got a few more.
Oh, let me hear.
This one is one that definitely resonated with me. Both can be true. You can hate your mother for the things she's done, and you can still love her for the moments where she tried. You don't have to choose. Both can be true. And that's kind of where I'm at in my relationship with her. Like there are some things that like I'm so grateful for, and there are others that are pretty fucked up. And I was trying to think the other day when I looked at this quote, I was like, is this cognitive dissonance or is this duality? Like,
I think
am I
more that's
holding
duality.
space for both of these things to be true?
Because you set boundaries with your mom.
Yeah.
You don't make it as like, oh, I'm dreading to go see her. Like you still do want to go see her, but you set the boundary. I don't think it's cognitive dissonance,
Yeah.
I love that.
This one we talked about before. I forget which episode this was, but it bears repeating that people pleasing is manipulation because you are constantly managing someone's perception of you instead of being authentic. You are letting them, or instead of being the authentic you and letting them react.
Yes, I'm definitely guilty of performing in relationships as the people pleaser.
Yeah. And I mean, it really sets everyone up for failure. For me, I'm sure for you, it's like, it's an easy go-to because we want to meet the needs of our partner and whatever, and their expectations of us. But then we're setting them up for not falling in love with our authentic self. And then when it comes out later, because it inevitably will, then it's a big issue.
Yeah, for me, when I do this in relationships, my energy starts to be depleted because I'm giving more than what I can. And then in return, it manifests like this resentment towards them for doing it. And they probably don't even realize. Well, they don't realize if you don't tell them, I guess. But it's hard, though. It's hard to do that. And then to set boundaries with people, especially if you don't have a partner. Or you just keep trying to people please them, keep trying to stay. And I don't know. It's just like trying to make things work that really you're just not in alignment with them.
But I think if you like come to the realization that you've been people pleasing in this long-term relationship or something, and you're like, okay, well, how do I get out of this? It's causing me distress. It's causing me resentment. I think stopping and realizing the things you've been doing outside of who you want to be, I think it's okay to go to that partner or that other person and be like, hey, I've just realized that I was doing these things to please you and they're actually outside of what I want to do.
Yeah.
And having that conversation.
That would say a lot about that person, how they respond to you.
Oh, yeah. Because if you want them to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. Like, thank you for letting me know.
Mhm.
Like, I won't expect that of you in the future or something.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about like a recent situation where I had to set that boundary and it definitely backfired on me, and that me and that person are no longer dating. It was like, "Hey, I'm really just overwhelmed with life right now, like working a lot, got these kids over here, managing a whole house by myself. Like I need some time to just like digress, and maybe I can't come see you every day before you go to work." They work second shift. And I was like, I really just like I about to start my period. Like I need to be at home. And it was instantly met with, well, what else do you got going on? It was like, what I have going on isn't as important as seeing them, and really like just needing to rest and not give you, just because I have free time, it doesn't mean it's your time. It was
Right.
completely misunderstood. And yeah, I don't know. I love how, and therapy really has helped me with this, like releasing people a lot quicker from my life that I'm not in alignment with. And you can grieve that relationship, you can grieve that person, but it doesn't mean that they were just a good fit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. And you shouldn't. This one I definitely relate to as well. You're never going to break a generational curse as long as you're still trying to please the generation that's cursed. I cannot talk today.
Mhm.
But this was definitely me before I like had my spiritual awakening, set my boundaries with my mom. I was still trying to very much please her to get her acceptance.
Mhm.
And then I realized I don't need it.
No, you don't.
Oh, I wonder if you resonate with this one. So, this person was talking about their narcissistic dad, and the therapist said, arguing with him is like wrestling with a pig. When it's over, you're both covered in mud, but the pig likes it. And not to
Mm.
mean like with your dad, but like, have you ever felt like that? Like, some people actually love the thrill of arguing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and I don't even know if they do it like
Oh,
consciously. I
yeah.
think that they're addicted to the hormones that it brings. I think they'll, and I will have to admit that I've probably been this person in the past, because if there's not chaos, if there's not some type of like codependent like framework within the relationship, it almost didn't feel safe. Like just to be at peace and feeling this calmness every day, really grounded, communicating really well. Last year, I completely just stopped talking to a guy. He was like perfect, dude. And I just stopped talking to him. Like consistent, level headed, very calm, listened to me, didn't interrupt me when I talked, asked me questions, sent me random DoorDash at work, was handsome, successful. Like what was the problem? Oh, it didn't feel chaotic. It didn't feel
Hmm.
familiar, which in return, as I've learned like a little bit more about myself and my patterns and why I think and do things the way that I do based on like my past trauma, I lost my train of thought. It was just the fact that I didn't know how to I didn't know how to communicate with somebody that was safe.
Yeah. Because it's foreign, right? Like, if you haven't really experienced that in previous relationships, you're like,
Mm.
it's actually more scary than the chaos that you're used to.
Yeah, it was, because it's like, okay, waiting for the other shoe to drop here.
Like, when are they gonna show their true colors?
Yeah. So
I get
that's
that.
that was my point. Like I really didn't know how to manage a healthy relationship. I know how to show up in one
Mhm.
that's chaotic, and I think I was
Yeah.
more so addicted to like proving why their behavior is wrong and hurtful. And I even going deeper into it, I was like begging for someone to see me.
Yeah.
And it feels like, okay, more of like a challenge, or probably the cortisol. you know, your people are
Yeah.
addicted to cortisol. So
Absolutely.
in that way, I resonate to it, not specifically with my dad, but definitely past relationships.
I had a few more, but I'm just going to do this last one because I actually was having this conversation, a very similar conversation with my previous experience dating someone who is Muslim. But I also relate to this because of my parents. So the person said to their therapist, I have to stick my marriage out because that's what the Bible says. And the therapist said, do you follow any other rules in the Bible? And I feel like sometimes people
Love
really
that.
need that realization. Like they think of themselves, every religious person I've known picks and chooses what they want to follow, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to meet a person who follows it strictly. And that was my dad's mindset in his marriage was I have to stick it out because I made this promise to God and he chose death over seeing out his marriage. And in previous dating experience, I had an ex who was like, oh, well, it's Ramadan, so we can't be under the same house because we're not married. And I was like, you do cocaine. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're just picking and choosing when you're going to be religious. So I found that one very funny. But sometimes it needs to just be said to people because they think they're in this holy position that they're actually not. All right. Well, I think we've given y'all enough unhinged therapy advice from others. I love this trend on TikTok. There's so many different like avenues people do with it. We're going to do another episode coming up on a different topic. So if you're looking for more of these, you can definitely find them on TikTok if you just search Unhinged. Thank you all for listening this week. We hope you're having a great week and continue to. Make sure you like, subscribe, share us with people you love. Namaste.
Namaste.